We're creeping ever closer to the start of the season. Time once again for the Kaufman Corner podcast. David Lesky, Soren Petro with you as we will talk a lot about what's going on in the WBC. A lot of Royals are playing it. Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How should we view it? Bobby Witt batting leadoff looked pretty good up there. Seth Lugo looked pretty good. Michael Wacha looked pretty good for a while. Maikel Garcia batting second for Venezuela. Vinnie Pasquantino maybe off to a little bit of a slow start. Jac Caglianone sat today for Italy. Anything to make of that? Luinder Avila, good and bad, swing and misses, but plenty of base runners as well. Still haven't seen Carlos Estevez, and the Royals are adding to the broadcasting, not changing it, adding to it. We'll talk about that right here, right now on the Kaufman Corner podcast.
You're listening to the Kaufman Corner podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Royals, breaking down the Royals like no one else can. Kaufman Corner is hosted by David Lesky and Soren Petro. David Lesky is an accomplished author and the publisher of the Inside the Crown Royals baseball newsletter. Soren is the award-winning afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Kaufman Corner is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are your hosts, David Lesky and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. We do appreciate it. Off and running here on a Sunday night. If you're catching us via the podcast, remember you can be a part of the conversation. Got folks lining up in the chat room right now. Get in on the chat. Join your fellow Royals fans here for the Kaufman Corner live stream. We do it Sunday nights at 9 p.m. David, first of all, let's also talk about a little special you've got. 25% off Inside the Crown. Your great work. It's a mandatory prep piece for me when it comes to getting ready for the Royals on the program, our show on 810. And of course, I read it always before we do this. How does everybody get in touch with you to get 25% off?
Yeah, I mean, Kaufman Corner listeners, insidethecrown.substack.com/Kaufman Corner, 25% off. Easy as that. And I'll send you the check for you saying nice things about it. That's I appreciate that. It's a small fee for him to push the pot there, the newsletter.
I speak only the truth. Only the truth.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. It's good stuff. And I do. It is both Curtis and I part of our regular prep for the Royals. And so again, where do they go? How do they get it?
InsideTheCrown.substack.com/Kaufman Corner.
/Kaufman Corner. You can save 25%.
Podcast you're listening to right now. Just use that at the end after the slash, and you're golden.
Yeah, and you're off and running. So there it is. All right, let's get started with your thoughts on how many Royals are in the WBC. There's a lot of them. It's a lot of folks away from the team. We're going to get to how they're doing here in a minute. Good or bad to have this many players playing in the WBC in your mind?
I think it's fine as long as they're playing in the WBC. We can talk about this in a minute, but I think back to 2023 when Brady Singer threw like 2 innings in 20 days. Like that was not cool. I think I also think it's more important for pitchers to be pitching than necessarily position players, because you're still working out. There's still some sim games, stuff like that. Like I think Bobby Witt Jr. in 2023 not being a starter and not playing very much was probably really useful for him to sit behind Trey Turner, to watch these guys hit every single day. I think that there was a lot of value to that. So I don't think it's a huge deal. I do think it makes it a little tougher. Well, I guess in some ways tougher for the Royals on evaluation, right? Because you're not really watching a team play. You're watching this is like if the 2006 Royals were reincarnated, what we're watching at spring training right now, because the good players are gone. But it gives them an opportunity to see some other guys. Like Nick Lofton can play every day, and you don't get an opportunity to play every day in spring because like they optioned 3 or 4 guys earlier today, and they're still at 60 in camp. Like there's just not there's only so many innings that you can play in a tracked game. So in that way, I think it's actually really positive that they have all these open opportunities, especially when they don't need to see Bobby Witt Jr. They know what he's going to do. They don't need to see Maikel Garcia, Vinnie Pasquantino, all these guys. I think you can make an argument for Jac Caglianone as long as he's playing, though. I don't really care for Italy.
But that's the thing. He didn't play today.
He didn't play. And I, he's a young player. I think that if you look at that Team Italy lineup, he's one of those guys that if you look back at that lineup in 5 years, you're like, they sat Jac Caglianone in a game. How could they have possibly sat Jac Caglianone in a game? But right now, he hit 160 in the big leagues last year. So I sort of get the idea that you're rotating there. So I don't know. I'd rather he plays every single day. I get why he maybe didn't today, just because they're rotating. But yeah, it was interesting. I was just looking it up. I think the Mariners and Red Sox are the only two other teams that have 5 at least semi-regulars out of their lineup. The Phillies, their whole pitching staff is in the W. Like I was looking at this, and they've got Jose Alvarado, Brad Keller, Jesus Luzardo is on the next round list, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, Taijuan Walker. Like they're missing some dudes on their pitching staff. But the Royals, I mean, Lugo, Wacha, Estevez, Strom is in the player pool for the next round. Luinder Avila, they're missing a lot of guys.
Yeah, they are. Let's talk about how some of them are doing at this point. Let's talk a little bit about Bobby Witt Jr. batting in the leadoff, drew a couple of walks. You've talked, and I know you wrote an Inside the Crown about the patience that the team as a whole has been showing. You went into great detail on that, but also stealing a couple of bases. That's one of the things that I kind of thought we might see a little less of. Maybe he's just doing it because it's the World Baseball Classic, but I don't know that. You want the wear and tear on Bobby Witt. I mean, you want him hitting, and not like his game is the bat more than it is the legs, and we know the bat's worth more than the legs. But he did the job. He didn't. He only had the 1 base hit, but drawing 2 more walks. He had 7 plate appearances, was on base 3 times, and stole a couple of bases. Scored the first run. I mean, looked pretty good, but it's hard to look bad when Aaron Judge and that lineup is behind you. But he seemed pretty comfortable in that role. He
did. Did you hear what Kyle Schwarber said yesterday? I think it was when he said we went from the fastest leadoff hitter ever to the slowest leadoff hitter ever.
Yeah.
It was 2 games. I thought that was pretty good. He looked good. And when I first saw that he was out of the lineup yesterday, yesterday being Saturday, if you're listening after we do this on Sundays, my first thought was, well, how did you keep Bobby Witt Jr. out of the lineup? And then you realize it's early March, and he had 7 plate appearances, played 9 innings. He was on base 3 times. Like you said, stole a couple bases, ran wild, played defense for 9 innings. I don't have a problem with him sitting. These guys are still ramping up for the season. We don't need a tissue injury because he played 2 days in a row when he's not fully ready for that. So I'll say that. But yeah, I mean, I thought he looked like he should have been there. And I mean, if we're taking bets right now, who do you think the captain is for Team USA next time the World Baseball Classic comes around? I'd bet on Bobby.
It's not. I see where you're going because the experience level and everything he brings to it. Yeah, I mean, I can see that being the case as well. I mean, I don't know if he strikes me as necessarily, leadership. I mean,
did you see Aaron Judge's speech? You don't need leadership to be the captain of Team USA.
That's true. That's true. I saw Shohei Ohtani's last year or last time 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I thought that was really impressive. I thought it was really moving and the way he captured the room. And of course, he's such an icon for the Japanese players. The way they just sat and stared at him. But yeah, it's a good point. Look, I feel pretty good with him drawing the walks. Like I'm getting excited that he's going to be more selective. Therefore, on base even more, and we're going to be back more towards what we saw in 24 than what we saw in 25, and 25 wasn't bad.
Well, I mean, look, the reason that his on base percentage was so high in 2024 was because he hit 330. What was it? I can't remember the exact 332.
Yeah.
So he had a 389 on base percentage, but his walk rate was not bad, 8%. It wasn't. I think that's slightly below. It was slightly below 2024 league average. That dipped a bit in 2025. Everything dipped a little bit for him, right? It's not, again, good, really, really good season. Let's not paint a different picture than was with the reality. But, if he can show that patience and get back, I'm not saying 332. That's a very high average in today's game. It's always been a very high average, but it's especially high in today's game. But if he can get back to the 310, but all of a sudden you're looking at a 10-11% walk rate, I mean, you're looking at a similar on base percentage as he had a couple of years ago. The other side, we talk about walks and patience leading to walks and all that, but patience also leads to home runs because you're swinging at better pitches and you're forcing the pitcher to make better pitches too. Because Bobby Witt, you can get Bobby Witt Jr. out. Sometimes when you get him out, though, he still reaches base because he's so fast. But it's if he closes that hole in his game, I think I said it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, if he closes that hole in his game, I mean, right now he's the consensus third best player in baseball. I think people would agree with that. I don't know that he wouldn't be the best player in baseball consensus if he closes the patience hole in his game.
Ooh, come on. Shohei Ohtani, guy pitches.
That's fair. Okay, you're right. That's fair. Non-Ohtani, I think he passes Aaron Judge. Let's go with that. You're right.
I think it's. I think the case to be made for him is always going to be that he's a much better defender.
Yeah,
and playing the most premium position, defending wise. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that he's got going for him. But yeah, I mean, like what's amazing about him is he's already, the black ink is already there. One of them bad, caught stealing in 23, led the league in caught stealing, but he's led the league in triples in 23. He did that with 11. By the way, had 11 then in 24, just didn't happen to lead the league. Led the league in games played in 24, led the league in hits in 24, led the league in batting average in 24. Last year, again, led the league in hits and led the league in doubles with 47. I mean, that is what the best player in baseball does. He leads leagues in multiple categories,
yeah,
and over multiple years. That's the knock on Carlos Beltran. I don't think he has one dot of black ink anywhere on.
Did he not win a stolen base title ever?
I don't think so. I mean, he did some things like I think that's unfair. I don't think it's all there is to it. I'm pulling him up right now.
There's one. It's games played in 2002, which being on the field is important.
It is
sure,
100, and it's 162. It isn't some strike or pandemic shortened year where it's like 45 guys played in all of them. So that is it. But I mean, like his stolen base percentage to me, doesn't get the credit that it deserves. I mean,
agreed.
You and I both are huge Beltran supporters.
He's a Hall of Famer, like literally and figuratively. So yeah.
So, but Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, I think it does. It just jumps at you that there's already all this black ink, and he's going to be playing in his 26-year-old season this year.
Well, I mean, look at we're going on a rabbit hole here, but the Hall of Fame monitor that Baseball Reference has, average Hall of Famer has 27 black ink. Witt's already at 14. Gray ink, which is I forgot what gray ink is now. I should have known this. It's essentially the same as black ink, but it counts appearances in the top 10 in the league. He's at 66. Average Hall of Famer is at 144. He's like a quarter of the way through his career, maybe. I mean, maybe a little bit less than that, and he's halfway there to Hall of Fame already in a lot of these categories. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
His 47 doubles is already more than Carlos Beltran ever had in his career. 44 was his career high. He did it at age 25. And I think the other thing is, Beltran's biggest home run years came at age 27, which is next year for Bobby Witt Jr., age 29, which is 3 years away. He had 38 and 41 those 2 years. So if you consider that his biggest home run numbers are still out there, right? That's the way it figures to be. It is. It is the beginning of a Hall of Fame career, no doubt.
Yeah.
In every possible aspect.
To this point, on the Beltran point, Witt's had 2 seasons with more home runs than Beltran ever had up to age 25 already. So this is not the direction I thought we were going to go, but we are witnessing something special with Bobby Witt. And I think people need to, I think we need to realize, I think of Andy Bernard in the office. How do you know? Why don't they ever tell you you're in the good old days? And like we are in the good old days with Bobby Witt Jr. We're watching a Hall of Fame career in the beginning. So we should enjoy this.
Yeah, for sure. I think just, and then if he can do something glorious in the World Baseball Classic, that'll add to the.
Did you see he's the most bet player for MVP?
Is that right?
For WBC MVP.
Yeah. I did not know that.
23% of bets were on him.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we want to get into some of the pitchers. We'll talk about Seth Lugo, how he looked. We'll do it after you hear from our friends at GAN. Concrete season is in full swing and asphalt paving is revving up. So right now is the time to get your property on the schedule with GAN Asphalt and Concrete. Whether you need new concrete work, a parking lot repaved, crack filling, seal coating, or full asphalt installation, their experienced crews handle it all right here in Kansas City. Don't wait until the rush hits. Call today for a free bid and secure your spot before the calendar fills up. Get the process started right now at GANasphalt.com. That's GANasphalt.com. GAN Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222, or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Green Light Dispensary, voted Kansas City's best dispensary and your go-to for quick, convenient service. With 4 locations across the Kansas City area, we're never far away. Our drive-through and express windows make it easy to get in, get out, and get on with your day. Our award-winning service is powered by a team of experts dedicated to making your experience seamless and enjoyable. It's no wonder we've been voted the best. Convenient locations, fast service, knowledgeable staff. That's the Green Light difference. Visit us today.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Seth Lugo. 4 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts against Colombia. How good is, first of all, Colombia? And how much should we be encouraged by that first outing from Seth Lugo, who, it should be pointed out, did finish the year on the shelf because of the back?
Yeah, I mean, Colombia's got some big leaguers, at least. I mean, they're not – I'm looking at the roster right now. I'm trying to find if there's anybody actually like a good big leaguer. Harold Ramirez has had some moments. Gio Urshela, Donovan Solano. I mean, these are not nobodies. They're just not great big leaguers. So, a little bit of a grain of salt. I'll tell you what I thought was really interesting. Lugo has talked about the fastball and wanting to be more on the fastball. And then in his 62 pitches, the pitch he threw the most was his slurve. I thought it was telling that when a game was competitive and not a Cactus League game, he went to the off speed, the breaking ball that he said he probably is a little too predictable with. So, and the slider, which he's talked about having kind of revamped a little bit, there's a little bit harder. He threw 2 of them out of 62 pitches. So let's keep that in mind as the regular season starts. But I mean, he got 4 whiffs with the slurve. It was working, so why not use it, right? I thought he looked good generally. I feel like one of the walks, maybe I'm wrong, would probably have been a strikeout in a regular season game because I think it was a bad call that couldn't be challenged. So it might have been 3-2 pitch or a 2-2 pitch that ended up being a walk the next pitch, whatever it was. I thought he looked really good. And I think he's looked pretty good for the Royals in the spring and a couple outings as well. So to your point, yeah, he ended the year on the shelf. He had the back injury. He had the finger injury that I think impacted him way more than we realized throughout the year. So yeah, kind of similar to Bubic and Ryan Berger. Just really good to see him pitching, and not just pitching once, but on schedule the next time and on schedule the time after that. So that was, to me, really positive.
I don't like the 2 walks. I think that's
no.
I mean, again, it's small sample size, so I'm not going to make too big a deal of it. But I think that's one of the things that, I think his future success, because he's not overwhelming, his success is to be in the strike zone. Right. And I think he needs to not be thinking about finishing second in the Cy Young. He needs to be thinking about giving this team innings. We touched on that last week. You touched on it. And I think that's the thing is if he could push out towards, a couple hundred innings, right? If he's 185 plus, then that's his biggest asset to this team. I don't want him to try to recapture. You're like, oh, I really want to win a Cy Young, because I think that's when you overthrow. That's when you can get hurt. He needs to just focus on being in the strike zone and giving this team length. That's what they need.
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to find the walker. I'm going through the log from the other day, and I feel like I think I might be wrong. I think I lost it. I can't find it. But I wonder if maybe he was just worn down a little bit as the outing went on. Which these guys, it's spring training. Is that what did he pitch Friday, March 6th? Where but I agree. He's got to be throwing strikes. He can't be. The swing and miss is huge. Yes, obviously. I'm not worried about it so much, but I agree. When the regular season starts, you can't be putting crooked numbers in the walk column, and that's what he did after the All-Star break last year and before he went on the IL. That's what he barely ever did before that. And it's not. I don't think it's a coincidence that he was really good before that and really bad after.
Yeah, and this is one where I fear that the walls coming in may, he may try to be too fine. I mean, I think you're gonna get more offense. Pitch like it. Pitch like your guys are gonna score. Because I do think the offense is going to be significantly better this year.
I agree. I think I think they're going to score. I don't know. Well, we can talk about this later, but let me put it out there for you. We can talk about it next week or the week after. We need to come with a number. How many more runs they're going to score from last season? You think 100?
Yeah, I think that should be the goal, and I think it's absolutely possible.
Well, so what do they score? 650. So 750. Okay, that's interesting. See, in my head, I've had like 730, 735 as the number they need to get to, which is 80 to 85. So, I mean, 100 is a rounding error from that over the course of a long season. But yeah, he needs. You're right. He needs to pitch like he knows that it's not going to be a 3-2 game.
Yeah, I think so. Michael Wacha in relief, 3 runs in 3 innings. The first 2 innings were dominant. Last inning got away. I'd be like, well, that's a long time to be out there, except he's going to be a starter, right? So no excuses here. I do think it's important for them to, have success, and for him to have success even in relief, especially if he's trying to ramp things up, but mixed emotions. I love the K's. That's great. That was fun.
Yeah, it's funny because I was like in between locations. I saw Michael Wacha pitch his 2 innings that he looked great, and I got in the car and I was with a 3-year-old, my daughter, and we were not listening to the game. If anybody's dealt with a 3-year-old, you understand that sometimes you don't get that choice.
Yeah.
And I get home and I look at the box score and I was like, oh, what happened here? So, not great. I think it's a little bit worrisome. And Baseball Savant has, if you've not been to their player breakdowns during on the game pages, they've added so much, like to the point that you almost don't have to have watched the game to know how a pitcher did. Like this, they've added velocity by inning. So Wacha in his first inning, the 5th, was 93.7. The second inning, the 6th, was 93.4. His third inning, the 7th, was 93.1. Now last year he averaged 93.1. So if he's getting there in his third inning, and did he pitch twice for the Royals before the WBC? I think
that sounds right.
So third outing, I'm fine with that, but the velocity came down a little bit. It happens. I thought his fastball looked really good, and then I went back and watched, and it was just a little more hittable in that third inning. So yeah, to me he's a lot like Lugo in that. I care about the numbers. I generally don't. It's not that big of a deal what he does as long as he's reasonably successful, as if he's throwing 6 innings every time. And he's I don't know that I want 185 to 200 from him, because I don't think he's ever really done it. Maybe he has once. I can't remember when he was really young. But you need 170 from Michael Wacha. And look, you're paying him to give you 170 also. And so I thought the outing, I thought he looked really, really sharp. The changeup looked really good. And that's a big deal because the changeup didn't look as good last year, and that's his bread and butter. So, I'm looking forward to seeing him again because I think you want to. I don't mind so much early in spring if 2 innings are good and 1 inning is bad, but as the spring goes on, you need to be 4 innings are good and 1 inning is bad. 5 innings, because even in a regular season game, you're going to have a tough inning. You're not going to cruise through a game. It's how you mitigate the damage, which he didn't do on Friday, and how little of those big innings you can give up. And so I'm really curious on him on the next outing more than anything.
4 times in his career over 160 innings, 2 times in his career over 170, just once over 180. So yeah, you're right. Has been over 120. If I drop the barometer all the way down to that, there's 5 more seasons like that. So 9 times 120 or more. But just the 4 over 160. So that does speak to it. I thought it was interesting, getting the strikeouts, but also I think it's just interesting that he's willing to relieve. I think it speaks to how guys want to be on the team. And, they're obviously piggybacking him, and then nobody's going to go 7, 8, 9 innings. So this is how they're going to do it. It's going to take a couple of starters every game. Then they'll mix and match when they get into the bullpen. So he's basically signing up to be the second wave of starter that's out there, particularly when Scooble's got his one. By the way, did you see the interview with Scooble?
Yeah.
He was like, okay, and yeah, that's going to be it. Well, I'm going to try. I'm going to see. Like, shut up. Just this is like, I can't believe how they're doing this. Doesn't there have to be I think, and somebody had it earlier. I put it up. One of the comments was like, I don't like when they do this. I wish there was another time they can do it. We kicked around, some buddies and I, breaking up the All-Star break for 3 weeks. They get a 3-week break. I think you could do it then. But
we're gonna find out in 2 years if they play in the Olympics how that works, because they're gonna have to stop the season.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be a trial run.
But they're only. This is clearly where the negotiation was with Major League Baseball. Do you know how many teams are going to be in the Olympics?
Yeah. What is it? Is it like 8?
6.
6. Okay. I knew it was a single digit number
because they're the host country. So only 5 other teams.
Yeah.
Because they're making it short, clearly. But the Olympics are only 2 weeks long to begin with.
That's true. Yeah.
So, you got to do the whole thing, and, you can't have 24 teams, and whittle your way down. But
have we seen how they're going to do that? Is it going to be like a
they were just talking about it. They were talking about it tonight on the Mexico-Brazil broadcast, and only 6 teams are going to make it.
I knew it was single digits.
5 are competing for it because the U.S. is an automatic bid. So, that's going to be interesting. Maikel Garcia, batting second for Venezuela.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about how much they respect Maikel Garcia on the Venezuelan team?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You look at that roster. Like that's you talk about is how good is Colombia. The Venezuela roster. Ronald Acuna, Wilson Contreras, Eugenio Suarez, Gleyber Torres, Luis Ariz, for all his faults, he's going to hit for average. And in the WBC, apparently he's Barry Bonds too.
Yeah.
Wilyer Abreu. To have Maikel Garcia at the top, that says a lot. And look, I don't know how much of that is, hey, the captain of that team is the captain on his team. So is it that Salvi's going, no, my guy hit second? But even so, you look at that lineup and you don't think, well, God, he doesn't fit there. He does. Really, really impressive for Garcia.
Yeah. I'm blown away by the fact that they,
I was shocked.
I think that speaks to how much respect there is for that guy, that Venezuela is going to go ahead and bat him second. And it makes me feel pretty good. It means that they like what they see out of him. It makes me feel pretty good that he's going to be able to repeat what he did, because he is one of the guys that needs to back it up, right? He needs to back up what he did, because last year was his first big season. So he's one of the guys that I think, we'd really like to see.
You do it once, you know he can do it.
Yeah.
You do it twice, you believe that that's who he is.
You hit one home run, you're not a home run hitter.
Right. You know that you could do it if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we want to get into Salvador Perez, Vinnie Pasquantino, Jac Caglianone, Luinder Avila, Carlos Estevez. They're all still playing, plus the Royals broadcast. We'll do it after you hear from our friends at Whataburger.
Now at Whataburger, you can get the new Big Ranch Wrap for $3, 5 premium Whata chicken bites for $4, or a bacon cheese Whataburger Jr. for $5. Add fries and a drink for a little more. Now that's a Whata deal at Whataburger. Download the app.
Gann Asphalt and Concrete is looking to grow their team. If you have heavy construction foreman experience with heavy equipment, asphalt or concrete labor, or just want to learn a new trade, contact Gann Asphalt and Concrete to join their team today. Top of the market pay, company provided insurance, and paid time off and holiday pay are just a few of the great reasons to join Gann's expanding team. Learn more about this great opportunity with Gann at GannAsphalt.com/careers. That's GannAsphalt.com/careers. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. Salvador Perez just being Salvador Perez. He's one of the leaders. On that Venezuelan team, did a nice job in the game that they beat up on. I can't remember who they were beating up on, but I feel pretty good that Salvi's going to be Salvi. Like at some point it's got to fall off, but at least right now, cross your fingers, knock on wood, all that kind of stuff. Looks like he's just going to keep on being Salvi for another year, which is great news for Royals fans and great news for his Hall of Fame candidacy.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was sitting at home, my wife and I were watching, and I said, Salvi doesn't look slim, but he looks slimmer. I think he looks a little bit trimmer.
I thought so too.
Okay. So I'm not, if I am crazy, at least we're
maybe it's just the uniform style.
Yeah, maybe. It's funny too about Salvi, not to get too far into this, but I feel like he looks a lot slimmer in street clothes than in the uniform.
Agreed.
In my opinion. So
white is not a friend of the fat man.
No. You might notice I'm not wearing white.
I never wear white. I listen, and he's always been a big guy, but I noticed the same kind of thing. Now the question is, does he keep up during the season? Because it's tough when you're getting on planes and landing at 3 a.m. and then get out at the ballpark, and there's an unlimited supply of food everywhere you go. I mean,
there's empanada madness, not too does he still go there? I don't even know. You don't hear about that anymore. But he looked good. He DH'd on Friday, and then I was thinking, is he not going to catch? And then he did catch, obviously, Saturday game. So, Salvi, and I'll say it again, he will fall off at some point. I'm done predicting it. I will be wrong. I don't care. I'm not going to be the guy to say he's going to fall off this year for the 4th straight year and just be wrong again. I'm not going to do it.
Right. I mean, I'm with you. At some point, but he at some point we go, okay, he's Carlton Fisk.
Yeah.
He's going to play and keep playing at a high level till he's like 42. That's what it's, who was also a big guy who you would expect a big drop off. I mean, at some point, doesn't that have to become, I don't know, who's his comps that they, for a long time, it was like Lance Parrish.
Yeah. Parrish was up. Who else? There was
his comp.
I'm looking right now.
With Baseball Reference, who they are comping him to. But I think at some point, doesn't it have to start becoming Carlton Fisk?
It's still Lance Parrish. Lance Parrish, Brian McCann, Gary Carter.
McCann at 34 makes me feel good because he's getting away. But Lance Parrish, Lance Parrish, I think, was done. Like at some point, I know it won't be Lance Parrish because he didn't play till he was like 40.
He played till he was 39, but he last played a lot of time in 92 when he was 36.
But he had 20 home runs once after the age of 30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't understand why he's the comp that's coming up. I'm not saying it should be Mike Piazza, but
no, that's odd. Yeah, Salvi's the power has really increased in the back half. I mean, we know this obviously, but I mean, you look at Salvi's numbers and forget 2011, it was 39 games, and even 2012 was 76 games, but 13, 17. 21, 22, and then he started the 27, 11 in 2020, but in 37 games, 48, 23, 27, 30. I mean, the power is there on the back half, which to your point, is Carlton Fisk. I mean, that's the guy. And it's interesting. Is he even on that list? I don't think he is.
No, he's not.
No, he's not even on those 10. Somehow Asdrubal Cabrera is number 10, which that's fun. But even similar batters, no. Benito Santiago.
But I will say the similar batters list should make you feel good, though. Brian McCann, Jorge Posada, Lance Parrish, Francisco Lindor, Brett Boone, Javi Lopez, Benito Santiago, Johnny Peralta, Marcus Simeon, and Vern Stevens. And there's some names on there. And oh, by the way, he's a catcher.
He's and you know, if you're on a list of a guy who did steroids and successfully from Brett Boone, that's pretty good. I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah. Vinnie Pasquantino off to a slow start. Any concern there from you?
No, I'm happy that the slow start is happening now and not during the regular season. Is my video off? Did I lose that?
You are frozen, but you know.
Okay, well, whatever. I'm here. I'm not so concerned because he always gets off to a slow start. Let him do it for Italy and not for the Royals.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. He got off to a little bit of a slow start, and then you know, like if that's going to be what it is, then so be it. But you know, I tried removing you. Why don't you do this, David? Why don't you bounce out and then come back in on the same link, and we'll get you hooked up. This is something.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, I don't either. But we'll get David's video going here in a second. We'll take him out. And he'll bounce back on and be with us. But yeah, Vinnie Pasquantino being off to a slow start. That was what we saw last year, and we talked a lot about this here on the podcast. But I think just in general as well about the fact that you know it you know he wasn't. There's David. We got to look at that. We fix everything on the fly. But we talked about how last year we didn't have any real concerns about the slow start for Vinnie Pasquantino, and I think that's where I'm at right now as well. I mean, I think he's proven. You know, we mentioned Maikel Garcia needs to back up what he did last year. Vinnie Pasquantino needs to do nothing for me, right?
Yeah,
he's there. I know he's going to hit. I know he'll figure out any problems that he might have, and I think he did take a walk or maybe even 2 walks.
He's had 3 in 2 games. Yeah,
3 in 2 games. Okay, so you know, I don't have any concerns about him being off to a slow start.
No, I mean, I would love for him to figure out how to avoid that slow start. Which that's my only concern. But I mean, I think it might be who he is. George Brett used to be a slow starter, right? I mean, Vinny's not George Brett, but I also
needed to hit the DL for like 15 days.
Right. He needed that 2-week break and then came back and hit 900 for a week. But yeah, I mean, Vinny, 10 plate appearances, 3 walks, no strikeouts. Look, there were a couple pop-ups today. He lined into a double play and lined, I will say with quotes because it was like 78 miles per hour. But look, if you're seeing the ball that well, if you're seeing the ball well enough to walk in 30% of your plate appearances and not be whiffing, I'm not too, it's such a small sample. I don't care. Like if a guy goes 0 for 7 in mid-June over 2 games with 3 walks, you don't even think about it. It's just that's all we see from him. And get rid of the slow start now. Be done. I don't. Sorry, Italy. I don't care if you win the WBC. I just want Vinny to start off hot.
Well, but I am a little more concerned about Jac Caglianone sitting. And 1, because I think he needs the at bats. 2, I was like, okay, must be a lefty. And even that, I was like, well, I mean, is there going to be how many guys on the Italian team should actually be better than Jac Caglianone? And then it took some digging, but the pitcher was not a lefty.
No, they only have whoever they played. I forget who it was. They played only has 1 lefty. So, I don't love it. I don't love that you sit. I mean, if you look at this team, I'm looking at the names. Dominic Canzone. Yes, he hit 3 home runs against the Royals in a game last year, but any homer in Italy's first game on Saturday, I don't care. Vinny is, to me, the one guy on that team who needs to play every single day. And Jac Caglianone is arguably the highest ceiling of any player on Italy's team. I mean, I don't know. I will say he did. Did you watch their game? Did you see the game? Okay. So I forgot who hit it. Somebody hit a ball in the gap and it was scooting in right center field. Caglianone cut it off, turned and fired. It wasn't the best throw, but it was good enough and held the guy to a single. I feel like, and this is anecdotal, but I feel like we saw that ball go past him 10 times after he came up. So I felt good about that defensively in right field. But yeah, he needs to play. I don't love him sitting at all. It feels like this team is no proven guys except for Vinnie Pasquantino, so everybody's going to play. And I think you got to go with your high end talent, and Cags is that guy.
Yeah, I think the one thing I will say is like he has a cannon. I mean, we know he's an upper 90s pitcher, so he should that should be a weapon for him in right field. If he can get to the ball, he should be able to hose some guys, right? Like
when he got to that ball though, it was, and the announcers were, I forget who was announcing. Is that Spielberg's and it might have been Ryan Rollins, and it doesn't matter. They were very complimentary of the play, as they should have been. One play, right? Bad defenders can make good plays here and there, but I was really happy to see that. I'd just like to see him get more bats.
Right. I would agree. Let's talk about Luinder Avila's performance. 4 base runners in 2 innings, kind of an all over the place. One small sample on all of these, but just reaction to what Luinder Avila put up there.
The stuff looked great. One of his issues is always going to be guys like him are hard throwers like that. It's going to be control. And again, I keep going back to this. It is early in spring training, right? I mean, it's these guys have not pitched very much at all. And so I don't worry too much about it. I want to see the stuff, but at some point the command's got to be there. and it wasn't. It was 4 base runners in 2 innings? That was
I think so.
But
back up, but
again, lots of whiffs. It's hard to be too upset when the stuff looks that good, right? It's not, you like you say, you want fewer base runners. You don't want guys all over the field, but that stuff does play. And did he pitch yesterday or was it 2 days ago?
2 days ago, because I just looked at yesterday.
Okay. I was going to pull up. I'd seen this. I'd looked at it before and blanked on
2 innings. 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, not earned, 2 Ks, 3 walks.
There it is. Yeah, his curve was filthy. 4 swings, 3 whiffs on it. So I thought that was impressive. Yeah, the thing about for him, his sinker, he goes sinker more than 4-seamer generally. It's not a swing and miss pitch, and I think he needs more swing and miss from that. Matt Quintero talked about, I think he's a frontline starter. I use, it's a great thing to say for a big league manager of his player. I think that makes total sense. If he's not going to get more swing and miss with the fastball, I think he's got to be. I think he's a reliever, and I've said this. I think he's still a reliever. I don't see long-term starter with him. And I think the outing, look, it can be cleaned up. Again, it's 1 outing. It's 44 pitches. It's not that much. But if you have the 1 pitch that gets whiffs, that's a reliever to me. And especially even if you can throw 97 with the other pitch. So we'll see. Again, early in spring, let's see what happens next time out, all that stuff, all these caveats. But I think he's a reliever in 2026. I think he's a reliever in 2029. And that's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, listen, when I watched Brad Keller come in for the U.S. team, I mean, all I could keep thinking about was like how bad the Royals were at developing starting pitching to where they never got to. I mentioned Luke Hochaver, all the wasted years of him as a starting pitcher. Brad Keller, if you can develop and, by the way, sign some starting pitching that are legit starters, then you can move on from what is obviously a failing starter, right? Like who hasn't figured it out, and get him into the bullpen. Now, I think there will be, I do think Seth Lugo opens the doors for guys to maybe later in their career get a shot to come back into that rotation. But I just like if the Royals would have just gone and signed some Michael Wachas and let Brad Keller go back to the bullpen, maybe they have a closer, right? Like maybe they end up, getting more from him than what they ultimately did. And instead, they just time and time again had all these guys that just were, were trying to figure out their career, and there was no effort made towards trying to build a team. And so, Luinder Avila to me has not been dominant as a starting pitcher in the path to the big leagues. And so, if it's time to win some baseball games and trim down the offerings and get some productivity out of this kid and do it out of the bullpen. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Well, and I put him on I did the roster projection this past week, the second one, and I know they say starter. You got to put your best 13 on the pitching staff. And if he's one of your best 13 pitchers, then he needs to pitch. and
just
wherever it fits.
For the record, you had the 5 starters that everyone would expect: Reagans, Bubic, Lugo, Wacha, Cameron. The bullpen that you put together: Estevez, Urseg, Strom, Mears, who came over in the Brewers trade, then Schreiber, Lynch, Cruz, Avila. I think the guy, and I have no problem with that being the answer. but Avila has options, right?
He does.
And so I think he probably is going to start in the minors.
I think you're probably, well, here's the thing. Those last 3, to me, you're just throwing a dart, honestly, at this point, because I think you're right. They could go a number of different directions. He has options. Alex Lang, I thought had options, but I'm looking at roster resource now, and it says he does not. So I need to check into that because I was under the
probably put him up, and I think Mason Black has yet to give up a run. Now, I don't know who he's
been great
up against, but he's the guy they got from the Giants. He's yet to give up a run.
Yeah, he's looked really good, and he's not really had a chance in the bullpen yet. I mean, he pitched two of his 10 big league outings are out of the bullpen. But I'm looking at that opponent quality we talked about last week. It's 6.9, so closer to AA than AAA talent, which not great. But look, the results are the results. He's 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, but 6 strikeouts. I'm looking at options right now, and Cruz has options. James MacArthur, who I don't believe has pitched, has options. Avila's got options. They already optioned Ben Kudrna. Berger's got options. Black has options. Mitch Spence has options. They already optioned Eric Sarantola, who's pitching for Team Canada right now. Eli Morgan has an option. He doesn't need it because he's not on the 40-man yet. But yeah, I think those last 3 spots you're throwing a dart, truly, because there's just so many possibilities, which is great. And also, they could get it wrong because there's only so much time to figure out who those 2 or 3 guys are.
Carlos Estevez has yet to pitch. The Dominican Republic run-ruled their games, so when do you need a closer? But it just keeps us wondering: does he have the velocity? Is it coming back? Which it was slow to come around last year. And does he need to pitch to get the velocity back? And when is he pitching? Like, are they doing side sessions, or are they just having a good old time with the fellas? I am concerned. Like you mentioned the Brady Singer part of the equation about that ended up being the excuse. Well, we went to the WBC and didn't pitch, and that was really a problem for him. Like, are we going to be hearing that same thing with Carlos Estevez? I really want to see him pitch because I want to see where the velocity's at.
Agreed. And he pitched in their exhibition game on Wednesday, I want to say Thursday, and he got up to there. So it's interesting. He got up to 90.1 tracked, which means he's over 90 now, barely. Small victories. But there were 3 pitches that didn't track, and I'm wondering what those were. I don't know. Were one of those 92? Hard to say. I'd guess not, based on history. But yeah, he's got a pitch. I feel like he probably would have pitched in the 8th or 9th today. But again, the game ended after 7 innings. He's got to get out there. I'm sure they're throwing sides, but it's not the same. Any big league pitcher will tell you it's not the same. And who was it? Somebody pitched yesterday and then threw more in the bullpen after their outing in the WBC, which you see all the time in spring training games. But I'm not sure I'd seen that. I think it was Clay Holmes, maybe. And I remember this was back in like 2014 or 15. I was out at spring training, and I think Duffy had done that. And I talked to him after the game or the next day, and I was like, "What is that session? How do you replicate being on the mound?" He goes, "Oh man, you don't. It's not the same." He's like, "You're just keeping your arm stretched out. It's just one more up and down." And it is. It's just different.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so he remains a mystery. So we wait to see what he's going to be. So that to me is concerning.
Huge question. That's to me, it's the biggest question of importance on the pitching staff for the Royals.
Since Chris Bubic has pitched, Seth Lugo has pitched, since all the guys that had health questions are pitching, yes, that is now number one, because they appear to be back and are, we haven't heard any concerns or anything. Kolich didn't figure to break with the team anyway, so that's the one injury that they got. Starling Marte playing at some point, I guess maybe would be.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's it. But I'm on the pitching staff though. For me, it's Estevez, and that's it.
Yeah,
I do. I agree. I'd like to see, and he just got to camp. Marte did on like Wednesday, I think. I'd like to see him out there. That'd be nice.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's finish with our last subject. The Royals broadcast is changing. Eric Hosmer is going to be a part of the equation for 30 games, I think it is.
Something like that, yeah.
That's intriguing to me. Like, can you get a feel for it? Can you build a chemistry, a camaraderie with the other guys in just 30 games? Like, what do you think of Guthrie when he's in there?
I love it. I think he gives great insight. And this is I hesitate to say this because I don't want to like shatter the glass in everybody's brain here. He sounds just like Jeff Montgomery. They have the same voice.
As far as pitch and tone, it takes me a minute. Like if I join the game late and it's on, I'm like, oh, Monty's, because they'll put Monty on the broadcast too sometimes. I'm like,
yes,
oh, Monty's in there. Okay, cool.
It throws me off so much when he's in there.
No, I think he does a good job, but I'm wondering, is this where we're at, that the ball player has made so much money that they are not going to do 162? Like, you are going to have to piece together 5 guys doing 30 games, 32, 3 games each to get a 162 game deal on it. There's like nobody that wants to do this full time.
I'll do it.
Well, but I mean, as far as like the
figures,
I mean, is that it? I mean, I get it with like just trying to break Hosmer in. Do you think Hosmer's? I agree with you that Guthrie's good, and I think we should get more of Guthrie. Do you think Hosmer's going to be good?
I think he could be. If I had to guess, I'd say in 2 years we're like, oh my God, Les Hosmer, please. There's just a lot of the what's the word I'm looking at? There's a lot of in my playing day, this is what we did that I think we're going to get, and it's going to be a little bit annoying.
I have no idea what we're going to get. I know this. He was a stand-up guy as a player, was there ready to talk, where Moustakas may or may not be willing to talk. Eric Hosmer was always willing to talk. What has amazed me is he has become an intense apologist for all players. And I'm not saying that that there's anything wrong with thinking that. I mean, I really feel like the way he conducts himself. Now, I know he's got some kind of like podcast. I haven't heard it.
You've never been on Watch the Royals Rain Delay? That was always on.
I don't.
I always on during rain delays.
I know. I have a channel changer, and I use it during the rain delay. But so no, I've never watched it, and so I don't know. He might be very good, but I really feel like he must have been extraordinarily scarred. He was not liked in San Diego. Okay, they bombed him in San Diego. They had T-shirts about getting rid of him in San Diego. And it's amazing because he was beloved in Kansas City, and I think that was, a very different experience for him in San Diego than it was in Kansas City. And now, I think people, if you've listened to our radio show, like, he fired out on Curtis Seabolt, who Curtis had put out. I think Bobby Witt chased a bad pitch way out of the zone in a key at bat on some just regular game, and Curtis had the video, and out of nowhere, Eric Hosmer is snapping at him about, well, you try and hit it. And no, if that's what it's going to be awful, because that's not what you like. Rex Hudler has his faults. Okay. But Rex Hudler will be critical of the players. Like, and I don't know if it's because Rex looks at him and he's old enough that he looks and goes, that ain't me. Hosmer's younger than some of the guys that are still playing, right? So if he's wanting to be everybody's buddy and he's not willing to be like, Salvi can't swing at that pitch, or I'm not sure what Jac Caglianone's doing there. You can't be swinging. You're 3-0. You haven't had a hit in 3 days. Like, what do you know? If he's not willing, and I think Ryan Lefebvre is the best at being constructively critical, like of pointing out what was wrong while not blowing up the team. And I'm not asking him to blow up the team, right? I'm just saying you have to be willing to say something's wrong. And he has gone out of his way. And it's not just Curtis, it's lots of other things on Twitter to just be like the you're not a ball player. Like, first of all, I'm not a chef, but I know what tastes good. Okay. I don't have to be able to make a whole meal to have an opinion about the meal that's been cooked for me. Okay. No, I wasn't a big leaguer, but I watched a lot of baseball and I know what quality big league baseball looks like. Okay. I'm qualified to give an opinion on baseball. And so I'm with you. I do worry about, well, when I played, and does it become him telling stories? You know, I don't know, which is what you wonder about every player. But I'm intrigued. I think the potential is there because he was a great stand-up guy at the locker and explained the game, explained what happened that night. I think the potential is there for him to be really good. But he's got to want to be a really good broadcaster, not the players' buddies.
Completely agree. And there's a way to do it too, right? Like Jac Caglianone, like use that example. 3-0 pitch, he swings and pops up. I think you can say, hey, I understand why he did this. Here's why I think he did this. I get it. It's very difficult to be a big league hitter, but he can't do that. And I think you can kind of be their buddy without sacrificing that aspect of a broadcast. I do worry about that. But you know, like you say, the tools, it's like watching a young player who you know can do it. The tools are there. It's a matter of if he can put it together. I think it's helpful that Jeremy Guthrie has, I think, made that transition really well. I think he does a really nice job of that, more so on the pitching side. That's his expertise. That makes sense. I think that having Ryan, Jake Eisenberg is great too. I think Jake is a good guy. I think having good play-by-play guys helps an analyst quite a bit. So if he does not make it, if he does fail in this role, it won't be because of anything but him just failing in this role.
Yeah.
He's got everything's around him to be good. And look, he's going to be broadcasting a pretty good team too. You know, it's a lot harder to broadcast a bad team. I was told when Rex Hudler came here, was that 2012? My God, it's been so long.
It's been a while.
It's crazy. When the Royals hired Rex Hudler, I forget who it was, but somebody told me, you are going to absolutely love Rex Hudler when the Royals are good and hate him when they're bad. And they were bad when he started. And I don't think many people liked him. And all of a sudden, 2014, 2015, oh, we love good old Hud.
Well, I think if you win a championship, everything around it gets cleansed. I mean, it's the ultimate perfume.
Even just a good team, I think, helps a broadcast. And so Hosmer's he's going to be in a situation that it's all on him because everything around him is working in his favor.
Yeah. Bridget Howard, who is, I've never seen her work other than the other night when she made her debut. But I know this has an excellent resume, right? Yeah. And it has nothing to do with the fact that her dad was David Howard, who played for the Royals, and her grandfather was a big leaguer as well. She has covered the Mountain West. She does play-by-play for the NWSL. She was an athlete in college. She played soccer at K-State. So she's been in a locker room as a player. She has a fantastic resume. I think she's going to be really good because I think she wants to do this. She knows sports, knows baseball, did Mountain West baseball, and grew up in a family that, baseball was obviously a big deal. I think she's going to be really good. But I do want to say this. Can I just applaud the Kansas City Royals as a girl dad, as a father of two? They hired an actual journalist, a broadcaster, an athlete, a sports analyst, somebody who knows what they're doing, and she's a lovely lady too, right? But too often, I think these positions are hired by somebody who has no idea what they're doing, and is a moonlighting model.
Yeah.
And like I said, she's a very pretty lady. I'm not, but I'm saying she is an athlete. She knows sports. Like I was reading her resume. I'm like, okay, but and I didn't even pick up on the last name till I started reading about it. But
Same.
yeah, she absolutely. I was like, okay, look at all these things she's done. I'm like, wow, this gal's really she's earned this job, and I think it's and I think it's fantastic. I love the fact that they have hired her, and I think she's going to be really good because I think her resume is flawless.
Yeah. When we were talking about what to talk about today, and you said that, I was like, oh, that's such a great point. Also a girl dad, and it's nice to see. And I thought she was phenomenal on, was it Friday?
Sounded great for the first
Thursday,
time.
whatever day it was. I thought she was fantastic. Really, really excited for that. I think that I love that the broadcast is more voices now, because I think, look, we all love Joel, we all love Ryan, all these guys. We've heard from them so much, and it's gotten, not that they're bad, it's just gotten a little stale, and it's nice to get some new blood in there. And it's nice, like you say, she is beyond qualified, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. And yes, as a girl dad too, pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get because Joel, they would go to Joel as like a sideline reporter, but you can't be prepping the post game and
Right.
you can't put 100% into both those jobs. So I will give them credit at a time that their television revenues are clearly down. They're putting more into the broadcast.
Yeah,
and
that's a great point.
I
I didn't think about that.
I think the ownership, whenever we can finally get the stadium up and running, I can't stress enough that having local hometown ownership has been great. And I think they've literally done everything you can do. And I think this is yet another example where ownership led by John Sherman, but all of them are putting the team, and the fan experience at the forefront. And they are spending more money with less money coming in to make the broadcast as dynamic as they can. And I think that's great. I think it's great.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a great point. And you're right. It's just another, I think the stadium has been a misstep at times. Maybe most of the time, however you want to characterize.
I think they are way late. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up all their rear ends like every single thing they're doing. They are way late. The Chiefs got it done. They should have been done about that. And the Chiefs are even a little bit behind where they wanted to be. Mm-hmm. They should already have their location picked out. They are late. There's no doubt about it. I do also agree with John Sherman. It's more important to get it right than it is to get it done fast. Yeah. So if they take extra time and they eventually get it right, and we get a great ballpark with a great area around it, and it generates lots of revenue, and they put the money back into the club, great. And I think with moves like this where they're adding salary and firing no one, show that I think we can feel pretty comfortable that whenever that ballpark does get done and the revenues that come from the surrounding area should be pumped back into the team, because here they are investing in the fan experience at a time that they've been dealt a major setback because Sinclair Broadcasting sucks.
Right. And I mean, not to get too deep into the ownership side, but look at payroll. Roster Resource has them at $149 million. We talked about it. I said weeks ago, I think they can go as high as 155. Did they say they're going to stay around where they are? Add 10%. 10% is 154 from where they were. They're at 149 right now. I mean, they are investing in this team in every single way.
Not to mention Daniel Mack's department is probably three times bigger, maybe 4 times bigger than it was when John Sherman took over. I mean, they continue to do everything they can to be a first-class organization in every way.
Yep. And you're right. With dwindling television revenue as well, I keep saying it's a great point, because I didn't even think about that.
And I think adding a female voice to the broadcast, I think you have a better chance to attract female viewers.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It's especially one that I think is going to be really good based upon her
Agreed.
background and everything she's done. I don't think there's anything to be down. I feel like I do. Like I said, they're behind on the stadium. So there are some things, I have frustrations and other things that people don't need to care about and don't want to hear me go on about. But from an ownership standpoint, I mean, I can't stress that I believe that the ownership has really poured itself into creating the best product for Kansas City.
Yeah. It's pretty much every step of the way.
Signed Bobby Witt Jr., signed Maikel Garcia, added veteran pitchers. I mean, whatever they have needed to try to do, they have done it. And I think it's
and look, it's shown on the field too.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that nobody wanted 82 and 80, but 2 straight winning seasons for the Royals is not nothing.
It's absolutely not. And I love 82 and 80.
Yeah.
Because the mark of greatness is not being god awful. Like it could have been really easy to go right back to like 90 some odd losses and be like, this is 2003 all over again. This fluky year where you won some games, all came together, but really the foundation sucked. Last year proved the foundation does not suck.
Yeah.
And I'm quite confident in the over 81.5 on this year.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh yeah. I am too.
Feel really good. All right, listen, you can always support the Kaufman Corner podcast by supporting our great sponsors. You know our friends at GAN. They're hiring. If you want to be a part of a great Kansas City company, for more than 30 years, they've been solving parking lot problems. They're looking for experienced asphalt and concrete paving foremen, operators, laborers. A great trusted company. Top of the market pay, company-provided insurance, PTO, and much more. Go to ganasphalt.com/careers if you want to join their team. Our friends at Whataburger. Now you can get the new Big Ranch Wrap for just $3, 5 premium What a Chicken Bites for $4, or a Bacon Cheese Whataburger Jr. for $5 right now. Remember, they're open 24 hours, serving breakfast 11 p to 11 a. If you're hungry, get to Whataburger right now. Northland Injury Law, they are Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, 5-star rated on Google. For more than 40 years, they've been helping people in accidents. Text HURT to 22222 if you've got a case, or call 816-400-HURT, and our friends at Greenlight. 15 locations in Missouri and more on the way. Greenlight is the go-to for all your cannabis needs. Tell them you heard about it right here on the Kaufman Corner podcast. For David Lesky from Inside the Crown, remember that 25% off is at what?
InsideTheCrown.substack.com/Kaufman Corner.
There you go. Very easy to get. For David Lesky, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Kaufman Corner podcast.